First, let's join the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Dzogchen. Homage to the 16 Dharma King Karmapa. And homage to Master Dupten Tarji. And homage to the three jewels of the altar. And homage to the main deity of Homa today, the Mahachakravajra. Simu, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, temple directors, all disciples present here and over the internet, and our participating VIPs today. And the wife of Secretary General Daniel Liao from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Taiwan, accountant to the Tribuddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa and her husband Larry, and law advisor to the Taiwan Tribuddha Tantrayana Association, Mr. Lu Wenxiang, assistant to the former Vice President Li Shulian, and the PR director of the International Businesswomen Association, Dharma Sister Che Huiling. Sani line dancers from Taiwan, Dharma Sister Lin Yixuan. And Dr. Ryan Zhuang from Fuxing Airline, Dharma Sister Nation. Good afternoon, everyone. How do you do? In Taiwanese Mandarin. I would like to make the announcements that next Sunday, August 16, there would be Guru Gule Homa fire offering ceremony. And there's no need to say more. That's at Guru Gule Homa fire offering ceremony. So, Ragaraja and Guru Gule are both magnetizing deities, and Guru Gule is the yidam of Master Dupten Dorji. If you don't like to be loved and you like to be free of all intermingled bondage, and you are a pro single life and you don't want to get along with other people, then you don't need to be primary supplicants. If you want to get a good marriage, but if you're already in the 60s, 70s or 80s and you still want a good marriage, well, don't think like that, because personal relationship is very important. Guru Gule is very important, If you are lonely and alone at your old ages because you never became primary supplicants for Guru Gule, or if you like to live in isolation or depression or hyperactive, the crying all the time, or grieved, those kind of ailments. If you don't like to be if you like to be like in any of those problems, then you want to become primary supplicants. That's the end of the introduction. Today we had the Mahachakra Vajra, and we had several key points. In the Mahachakra Dharani Sutra, it said that by reciting the Mahachakra mantra 21 times, you can accomplish all Dharma. So every time prior to reciting the mantra, you first recite the mantra of Mahachakra. Then you would be able to have attainments very fast. And you would also achieve attainment of all mudra practices and also the mandala cultivations. Then you would be able to enter into the great mandala without setting up an altar. That you can be able to enter into the yogic mandala, which is the great mandala. So by reciting this mantra 21 times, you would be able to attain all dharanis and dharmas. So prior to reciting your mantra, you first recite Mahachakra mantra, then you would have special power to empower you so that you would have attainments in your spiritual cultivation. But today, the primary supplicants were very few. So people do not understand about this statement, that prior to any of your mantra recitations, you first recite the Mahachakra Vajra mantra 21 times. So all the mantra practices, mudra practices, and mandala practices all would be attained swiftly. So this is a quintessential key formula, but you were not primary supplicants for this, so you have to wait a few years. So in the Dharani Collection Sutra, it said that if you recite this Mahachakra mantra 21 times, 3 times 7, you can enter into any mandala. You can enter into any altar, because there's some mandalas in Tantrayana that cannot be entered without receiving empowerments. But by reciting this mantra 21 times, you are allowed to enter into the mandala, any mandala. And by practicing this Dharma practice, you would have attainments in any Dharma practice. And if you perform the mudras and recite the mantras, then you would also receive spiritual response. If you're not allowed to practice any mudra prior to receiving empowerment, but if you recite this Mahachakra mantra 21 times, then you do not violate the stealing precept, Dharma stealing precept. So all the mantra and mudra have to be transmitted by the Guru, and one has to receive the appropriate empowerment. If you have not received the empowerment, and yet you form its the deity's mudra and mantra, then it is the same as stealing the Dharma. Then any Dharma practice will not succeed. But if you recite this mantra 21 times in front of an image of a Buddha, it is the same as seeing the Buddha, and it is the same as entering all mandalas, and then your Dharma practice will succeed. This was written in the sutra. So that's why the Mahachakra Vajra is very important. He has the power of blessings and annihilate the stealing Dharma stealing. And by reciting this mantra, you would also be able to empower yourself. And by reciting this mantra, you will not breach the Dharma stealing precept. And then by reciting this mantra, any Dharma practice that you do will have attainment. So the primary supplicants today are fewer than the past weeks. I thought, this deity, I have announced how important this deity is. And by becoming primary supplicant for this deity, you are destined to become a Buddha. Because this deity, this deity's yidam, Maitreya, Sakyamuni and Maitreya. And that in the future, during the Dragonflower 3 assemblies, by reciting just Namo Buddhaya, you would be able to attain Buddhahood. So the primary supplicants this time are fewer. I don't know what happened. So this is the 3-prong scepter. It's very special. So 3-prong Vajra scepter. Typically, we hold it like this, or this, or like this. So these are the 3 ways of holding the 3-prong Vajra scepters. And this kind of 3-prong Vajra scepters, where the 3 prongs are open, belongs to the Japanese Tantrayana. The Tibetan Tantrayana's 3 prongs are joined together. And the image that we have here is also from Japanese Tantrayana. He looks rather serene, but the tantric deity would be more wrathful. Mahachakra Vajra has another Vajra name called the Vajra originator. So the start of all Vajra practices is this deity. So this deity is extremely important for tantric practices. If in your tantric practices just don't succeed, then you can add 21 times of Mahachakra mantra recitation before your practice. Then you would have attained. Then you would succeed in your practice. So the primary supplicants are truly fortunate. But the non-primary supplicants are also fortunate, because then you will have to wait several years. There's no more for this year. You have to wait if you want to become primary supplicant in the future. So this is very beneficial. You have great benefit. By reciting 21 times, you would be able to enter into the mandala. By reciting 21 times, your wishes would be fulfilled swiftly. By reciting 21 times, then you are not considered stealing the Dharma. For example, a mudra that was taught by fellow disciples but not by Grandmaster, that you learn from your fellow Dharma brothers or sisters, then you're considered stealing the Dharma. But by reciting this mantra 21 times, then you're allowed. Without considered stealing the Dharma. So why is Mahachakra Vajra is also called the Vajra originator? Because he was a manifestation of the authoritative Buddha king. Because there are many, these are the Buddhas who attained Buddhahood in the Saha world. So Sakyamuni Buddha and Maitreya are the mighty Buddha king with great authority. So they are endowed with great authority. Also Dipamkara and the Golden Light Buddha, they all attained Buddhahood in the Saha world. And they are all considered the mighty Buddha king of great authority. There are also other Buddhas attain Buddhahood in the Saha world, but they are not considered with great authority because they don't spread the Buddha Dharma really widely. So there are many other Buddhas, they are not considered to be the mighty Buddha kings with great authority. Today, let's continue on the Great Perfection Dharma. We are talking about the Vajra originator, or the start of Vajra, not the start of coughing. Let me recite from the book. The visualization method of the universal eye and obstructed Dharma realm, plus the three learnings of precepts, stabilization, and wisdom, all the way to the appearance of our own radiance shining upon all the worlds at the moment when all words die and all thoughts stop. This is the attainment of Trekcho. Now we have some clues to this greatest secret. If I'm not the one who write it, who else would? Actually, there should still be people writing about it now, but at that time, which was in 19... So Taiwanese year 79, May, which means that would be what? 79, 11. That would be 1990. Oh, but this is the revised edition. When I wrote this book, number 56. The first edition
民国79年是1990
So the 79th year of Taiwanese year is 1990. But that was 25 years ago, where Tantric Buddhism were not that popular. And Mahamudra was written earlier than this, about 30 years ago. The key point here is in the unobstructed that I have spoken before. And in Buddhism, about the three non-leaking learnings of precept, stabilization, and wisdom. And then all the way to the state when all words die and all thoughts stop. No more words, no more thoughts. So all this together is the moment of attainment of Trekcho. The unobstructed Dharma realm I have spoken on before, and precept, stabilization, and wisdom I have spoken on this too, and all words die and all thoughts stop also have been taught before. So what should I talk about now? So everybody have attainments in Trekcho now already. But let me just mention this. In Tantrayana, just these three, or just even one, the unobstructed Dharma realm, the state of the unobstructed Dharma realm cannot be done by ordinary people. And also, all words die and all thoughts stop cannot be done by ordinary people. Or even the precepts, meditative stabilization and wisdom, cannot be performed successfully by ordinary people. So that's why in the Hinayana Buddhism, they go by the precepts. And Hinayana is the foundation of Mahayana, and Mahayana is the foundation of Vajrayana. And Hinayana places great importance on precepts. Actually, each spiritual cultivator has to abide by the precepts. It's not the case that tantric practitioner should relax, should free themselves from the precepts. That should not be the case. That tantric practitioners should still have strict precepts. And this precept of undermining is easily violated by tantric practitioners. And this precept says, if there is a Vajra master teaching Buddha Dharma within 50 kilometers of your residence, this was written in the sutra, in the ancient sutra. If within the radius of 50 kilometers, and you don't go to listen to the Buddha Dharma teaching, then you're violating this undermining precept. So if you are a tantric disciple and you don't go to a tantric Buddha Dharma talk or teaching given by a Vajra master within 50 kilometers radius, then you're violating the precept. Say if you live in Seattle and Grandmaster is here giving Dharma talk and you just don't feel like going, and you just feel unwell, and you don't have anything urgent. If you have something urgent, then maybe it's okay. but you have nothing important. You just sit around at home watching TV. You just don't feel like going to Redmond, listening to Grandmaster's Dharma talk. Then you are violating the undermining precept already. If you live even closer, then you're violating the precept within 50 kilometers. And Vancouver is beyond 50 kilometers. So it's okay if you don't come from Vancouver. But if people from Vancouver don't come to Redmond to listen to the Buddha Dharma teachings, then, frankly speaking, maybe the masters are more than the lay audience. There are not that many people from Seattle. Why? The Taiwanese says the closer you get to a temple, the more you undermine it. You just don't like to go to the temples near you. That's what the Taiwanese says. So people come from all over the world, flying to worship from Australia, New Zealand, Europe, from Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, to attend the group practice, the Homa. But people living in Seattle. Oh, it's Saturday? Oh, Saturday's gone. Oh, I forgot. Oh, Sunday's passed? Oh, forgot. Oh, I can't go on Saturday because I have to play Mahjong. But people come from all over the world, from faraway places, and yet living so close by, and you don't come. So this is violating the undermining precept. This is just an example. It's so easy to violate the precept. So the precept, stabilization, and wisdom, these three learnings. So you have received tantric empowerments, but your mind, has it achieved stabilization? Do you have faith in your guru? That's stabilization. So Taiwanese would say hi hi ha ha. I don't know what that is.
就是那个丽文哈，丽文小上海唱的那个。
It's like the song sang by the little Shanghai girl.
大家抱着一个心理，欢喜的好。
Well, just be happy.
你们欢喜就好，欢喜呢，去不去？欢喜的好。
Doesn't matter whether you go or not, as long as just be happy. Doesn't matter whether we go listen to the Dharma talks or not, as long as I'm happy. So if you don't have the precepts, then you will not have stabilization, and without meditative stabilization, you will not generate wisdom, and you'll always hang halfway. So it's really not easy. The precept, stabilization, and wisdom are not easy. What kind of bed is most expensive on earth? Do you know?
病床，病床最贵了。
Oh, the sick bed.
可以有人替你开车，替你赚钱。
Someone can drive for you or earn money for you, but nobody can take your place in sickness. You can get things that you lost, but there's some things that once you lose it, you cannot find anymore. That's the lost time and life. Human life is not very long. Time is so precious. Life is also precious, very precious. In the future, if you want attainments in your spiritual cultivation, without precepts, without stabilization, and without wisdom, there will be no attainments. And the wisdom has to be transmitted by your guru. And meditative stabilization has to be transmitted by your guru too. And the precepts too, they are transmitted by the guru. So, if you have lost your time and your life and you don't practice Buddhism, that in this life you will never get them back. So that's why you want to treasure your life and time. When we are on our sick beds, all we want is one thing, is to get healthy. Once you get healthy, then you want more. But little did you know that when you are sick on bed, you have lost everything. When you cannot get away from the sick bed, you have lost everything. So in your remaining life, while you're still healthy, you need to treasure. You know how to treasure them. What you need to know what the precept, stabilization, and wisdom are. With precept, you would have meditative stabilization, and with the stabilization, you would have wisdom. It's definite. Lots of miseries in life and can be resolved only by Buddha Dharma. Once you practice and attain Trekcho, then you can resolve them. Without Trekcho, you would not be able to resolve your own afflictions. So, in the philosophy of unobstructed is that you view all sentient beings as the same, and you have no obstructions whatsoever. That's the unobstructed philosophy. Affliction is the result of obstructions. When you can master the unobstructed philosophy, then you will not have afflictions anymore. There are lots of sufferings and miseries in life that come from knowing. In life, when you don't know, then you don't suffer. If you see what you're not supposed to see, you hear what you're supposed not to hear, and it is best not to know what things that are not beneficial. So sometimes not knowing is lucky. You know, Grandmaster is like this sometimes, that that Grandmaster actually knows, but I pretend not to know. But that's still problematic. So it is best that whatever I know, transform it to become not knowing. Then that way, I will not be afflicted. You know, you can see all the defamation articles on the internet or on the articles. But Grandmaster never see them. Why? Because Grandmaster never get on the internet. Grandmaster doesn't have iPad or cell phones or the smartphones. I have 2 cell phones. One was given by Master Lien Yin. Master Lien Yin said, if you have any problems, was given by call Master Lien Yin. And the other one was given by Hanifa. And she said, if you encounter any problems on the road, and then you may need to call True Buddha Foundation, and they would send someone to help you. Like if Grandmaster encounter any problems when he's on his own, I can call True Buddha disciples and they would come to help. Of course, cell phones are needed, but I have no smartphones. I only know how to dial the numbers. And nobody calls in because I always turn it off after I use it. So I'm not in contact with anybody, but I just make the phone calls when I need to. And then as soon as I finish, I turn it off. I have no computers. I don't know how to get on the internet. So the news around the internet, no need to tell me, and I don't want to know. So, you know, frankly speaking, I've never seen them. You know, the defamation articles, or the slandering articles, or the bad-mouthing articles. I've never seen any of them. Someone told me sometimes what they said about me, but I told them, no need to tell me. It's best not to know them. So this way, I have no afflictions. So universal I don't need to know what's going on. I'd rather not know who is what, doing what, or what happened to who. That's a kind of happiness. You only have happiness and you have no miseries. So what kind of obstructions would you have? Nothing. Everyone is the same to me. Without obstructions, there will not be afflictions. Every day, all I know is to write articles, to cultivate spiritually. People use computers to write articles, and it's really fast. And I have to use pen and write the letters one by one. Carve the characters very slowly, but very real. I still remember the characters. I still know how to write them. So why don't you learn the computer? A lot of people ask me. Lien Ling, Reverend, the superintendent at the temple, he learned computer. So now, are you capable of it? Yes. I heard that he broke 3 computers in his learning. So he learned to use the computer and broke them. If I learn to use the computer, like Simu like to say, if you learn, I guarantee that you would throw the computer down from upstairs, and then you try to get replacement. Because it's not that I'm impatient, because I want to learn it in the shortest possible time. If it takes a long time, then I don't want to learn. But computers are not something that you can master right away. You have to take a lot of effort and time. So maybe I would break about 100 computers. So Reverend Ling, don't worry. You just break it, but I would throw it. Because this doesn't work. What? You dare to break on me? Then I'll throw you out. This is not a good character. But I'm always happy because I never encounter any difficulties, because I don't do anything with difficulties. If someone gives me any difficulties or hardships, then I will not repeat it. I will not do it again. I'm like that. Let me tell you, like empowerment actually is not a simple matter. In order to confer an empowerment, you need to invoke the deity. Like in performing Homa, like today, it's for the Vajra originator, the Mahachakra Vajra. We have to invoke for sure that Mahachakra Vajra descended to the altar and in a moment to the empowerment banners before conferring the empowerment. So that was this procedure. So the so-called empowerment has to have the deity to descend, to enter into the empowerment implement in order to confer the empowerment to everybody. And the same thing when grandmasters, when conferring empowerment, I need to invoke the deity to descend upon my body, and then when I extend my hand and giving blessings on the heads, then that means it's like a permission, it's a confirmation that a permission for you to do this practice. It's like a permission. It's a confirmation. Only then it would be called empowerment. There are lots of rules in Tantrayana, and precepts in the realm of the precepts or stabilization of wisdom. There are many, many. When you have matured and have fruition in unobstructed state, then you have no obstructions. And then when all words die and all thoughts stop, you would be able to enter into samadhi, and you truly throw out all of your afflictions, abandon all your afflictions. A student was going to a class, and they have to line up in a line, and the last one happened to be under a tree. And the instructor told the students, so why don't we call out the numbers? So the first one And the student just look up and to the instructor, and the instructor said that the first student, please call the number. Oh, this is play of words of Chinese. 报数 means report the number of students in the class, but he thought that to hug the tree. So that's a misunderstanding. So how do you resolve this? Then you have to have a wisdom. You have to think, why did the instructor ask you to hug the tree? When the instructor said, the instructor asked you to count the number of students. So lined up, you start from the shortest person, and then the next person would count the next number. You know, the first day of class, the teacher would ask all the students to line up. And let's start from there, and I would say 1, the next one would say 2, and the next one would say 3, 4, 5, all the way. Let's report the numbers. It's not to hug the tree. So this kind of misunderstanding and understanding comes from your wisdom to discern. So wisdom is very important in Buddha Dharma. The husband told the wife, honey, you like this position? Can we change different position? It's not comfortable to be in the same position at all time. And the wife said, oh, shut up, just kneel. So precepts is you punish yourself. In precepts, you punish yourself. If you breach the precept, if you violate the precept, then you need to receive the punishment. If you don't support a ceremony, then you would be punished. If you don't support Tantrayana, you don't support your root guru, you don't support your knowledgeable Dharma companions, then you would be punished. These are considered precepts. Gold met with dirt. Gold set to dirt. Look at you. You're dusty and so ordinary. You don't have my luster, you don't have my radiance. And dirt said, no, but I can bear plants, trees, flowers, fruits, and lots of things. How about you? Gold had nothing more to say. So wisdom is here. The meaning of life is not in your asset, but is the value you create. If your existence has helped a lot of people, that's the value of your life. This is considered wisdom. There are a lot of elegant things are not necessarily wise. Don't think that those in high positions are holy people. Don't worry. Don't be afraid of them. Don't think people with lots of power are holy people. Don't be afraid of them. As long as you have wisdom, if you have your life has value, then you're the most wise and you're the most revered. So we should not have, we should not lack self-confidence. Even if you are a working man, or say, I still respect you because I don't know how to repair my cars. You know, the repairman for refrigerator, for cars, for all kinds of machines or engines. I respect them because they have skills in this area. They are valuable. Grandmaster is just a working man who understands Buddha Dharma. Everybody has to have your own wisdom, and if you develop it, then that's the value of your life. But Buddha Dharma is very important. Of all values, the most valuable one is Buddha Dharma. Of all the valuable ones, the most valuable one is Buddha Dharma. The most powerful one, or the authoritative one, they only understand about politics. We should respect them, but don't think of them as the most precious, as holy people. So this is a knowledge. This is a joke about riding the bus. Okay, let me share this joke as an ending that I have told before. In Taiwan, like the subways or bus are very crowded, the same in Japan. There's lots of people crowding together. There are two men talking to each other. One said, so crowded in the bus, and it was so they pushed my wife until my wife got an abortion. I mean, got a miscarriage. And the other man said, you know, my wife got pregnant because she was being pushed around all over in the bus. This is a joke, of course. This is not wisdom. But one with wisdom would know that this is impossible. Maybe it's possible to be packed until you get a miscarriage, but not to get pregnant. It's not possible. I don't think it's possible. Last joke. A woman, a lady, got on the train after crowding, and then she found her seat to be taken by a handsome man, and she took her ticket and told the man, "You're sitting on my seat." And the handsome man was rude and said, "Hey, you know, look carefully, this is my seat. Are you blind?" And the lady look at her ticket and didn't say anything anymore and move away. And then the train started to move, and the lady told the man, well, your seat is right, but the direction of the train was wrong. So telling this joke means don't be so rude to people. You want to be polite in your words. Oh, you're sitting on... Oh, am I sitting on the wrong seat? Let me look carefully. Well, it's the same number and the same seat. So what's wrong here? And this way, the lady would also check her ticket because she knew already that that was the seat. And then she may be able to see that it's the wrong train. Then he would save the trouble. But if the train has moved, then he would get in trouble. So when we talk to people, we want to be polite and kind. And this is also a kind of ethics, a kind of wisdom of Mani Padme Hum.